And run down the candidates for me. Let's start with the Republicans. Let's then go to the Democrats and talk about your ticket as well. McCain, Palin, what's your assessment?
We don't have to go into much detail. Both candidates' parties are corporate parties. Just read the newspapers and you'll see that both parties have run this country into the ground. They've allowed our government to be taken over by big business. Look at the bloated, wasteful military budget. Look at how the government has not given people a living wage. They still, 60 years after Harry Truman proposed it, we still don't have full Medicare for everybody. We still have a terribly harmful energy policy. You know, they keep talking about energy independence, but they don't push for energy efficiency and solar power like wind power in a big way. So we don't get into the details, Soledad, of theater, balloons, parades, bands. This is just a spectacle. Back home where American people live, things are pretty grim. They're getting worse all the time. Recession, consumer debt, unemployment increasing. And they're confronting a massive government deficit that in effect tells them that there's very little for them from their tax dollars and everything to bail out crooked businesses on Wall Street, and they're about to bail out the mismanaged auto industry.
So what you lay out is an economy that is in pretty dire straits. And if you look at the polls, that shows that Americans would very much agree with you. Number one issue, and they think that the economy is in bad shape. But when you look at your standing, with just a couple of months away from Election Day, you are mired in the low single digits there. I have you up there, 4%. What are you doing? What are you hoping to achieve with your campaign? I mean, is it realistic to think that you're actually in the game?
Well, the Nader Gonzalez campaign is the third, we're seeded third, to take a tennis analogy, but although the 60th seed on Wimbledon can get a chance to go to center court, we can't get on the presidential debates. If Nader Gonzalez got on the 3 presidential debates, which is the only way to reach tens of millions of people, there would be a 3-way race. The CNN poll, by the way, is a little better. We are at 7% in Pennsylvania, 7% in Colorado, 8% in New Mexico, and 8 to 10% in another poll in Michigan. But 2/3 of the people don't even know we're running because the national TV networks, with the exception of CNN, have in a sense put a blackout on us. We haven't gotten on Brian Williams, Katie Couric, Charlie Gibson, nothing since our February 24th announcement on Meet the Press. And this is typical of the way the two-party system and their corporate paymasters try to exclude and minimize third-party candidates. In our case, if you look at our website, votenader.org, you'll see 17 areas that are on our table to redirect and improve our country and its people that are off the table for McCain and Obama. So we are representing, Soledad, majority support for single-payer, living wage, all these things are supported by a majority of the American people.
After the 2000 election, Democrats, as you well know, said you were a spoiler in that race because it was so close. A third-party candidate was able to take enough votes away from the Democrats would tell you, to spoil the race for them.
That's a politically bigoted word, spoiled the race. It's never applied between the Republican and Democrat. Well, if you asked Al Gore why he didn't go to the White House, he'd say it was the Electoral College, #1, because he won the nation popular vote, and it was taken from him in Florida by Bush's people before, during, and after the election in all kinds of documented ways, from Tallahassee to the 5 politicians on the Supreme Court. We shouldn't talk about spoiler. If we all have an equal right to run for election in this country, which I hope we do, we have an equal right to take votes from one another. You don't apply a second-class citizen stigma to a third-party independent candidacy, which throughout American history have led the way against slavery, for women's right to vote, for worker standards, for farmer rights. They have led the way, even though they've never won a national election. We got to have more dissent protected in this country, because dissent is the mother of assent. And the American people have said again and again they want more diverse debates. They don't want 2 guys in parallel interviews on the same stage in the fall on these hoked-up presidential debates.
Ralph Nader is the independent presidential candidate. Thanks for talking with us. We certainly appreciate it. Good luck with your campaign. Much more convention coverage coming to you in just about 15 minutes and throughout the day. In New York, I'm Soledad O'Brien at the CNN Election Center. We'll send it back to Atlanta and CNN.